أكبر الله أكبر. الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدًا عبده ورسوله. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين. الرحمن الرحيم. مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. صراط الذين أنعمت
By the grace of Allah the Almighty, the Jalsa Salana United Kingdom is starting today. And by Allah's grace, thousands have gathered here to benefit from the religious and spiritual atmosphere. During these days, a temporary city has been created here in Hadiqat al-Mahdi, so that by remaining in this atmosphere, we can distance ourselves from worldly entanglements and strive to improve our religious, spiritual, and moral conditions. Therefore, those coming in this state should be more concerned with deriving the utmost benefit from this atmosphere rather than with being afforded convenience. However, humans naturally have needs and requirements, which is why the administration strives to fulfill those needs and to provide as much comfort and ease as possible for the guests. For this purpose, various departments are established within our nizam or administration during the days of Jalsa Salana, and thousands of workers voluntarily present their services in order to serve the guests of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wassalam, on whom be peace. In this regard, first of all, I wish to draw the attention of all the workers towards the fact that no matter the duty that they have been assigned, they must strive to fulfill them in the best possible manner. They must serve the guests of the Jalsa, considering them to be guests of the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, as guests who have come here for the sake of Allah the Almighty in order to fulfill a virtuous purpose. You must display a high moral standard. Even if you think that a guest has committed some sort of grievance or acted unfairly or unjustly, then overlook it, as this is part of our tradition, and this is what constitutes lofty morals. This is what God and His Messenger ﷺ have commanded, and this is exactly what the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, desires of us. By the grace of Allah the Almighty, this hospitality and high standard of morals has become a hallmark of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat or community in every country. And even greater attention is given to this, especially during the days of the Jalsa. Therefore, as always, all the workers here as well should exhibit the best qualities, which are the hallmark of the Islamic teaching. I do already know that the workers do their work with this spirit, and they will continue to do so. Yesterday, I conveyed the same message in my brief address to the volunteers. However, I am saying these things to serve as a reminder and for the training of many newcomers. The promised Messiah, peace be upon him, used to say that the heart of a guest is like a mirror. They are sentimental or emotional. They must be cared for. The smallest of matter or the slightest stumble can cause the mirror to break. In other words, the heart of a guest is very fragile. And sometimes such things can cause the person to falter. Some people do not properly consider that the matter was at fault on the part of the volunteer and had nothing to do with the Jamaat's teachings. Yet some people still falter. Therefore, great care must be taken. In any case, these are all points for those who are newcomers and those who have not been trained properly, or for those who have not yet entered the Jamaat.
जिनकी सही तरबियत नहीं हुई या जमात में अभी तक शामिल नहीं हुए होते।
However, by the grace of the Almighty Allah, most people who come here are Ahmadis, and they understand before they get here that they will have to bear some difficulties. But as I said, there are also some external guests, and they must be specially cared for. Those who have not yet joined the Jamaat, the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, or those who have not been properly trained. For this purpose, all workers from every department must strive to take care of their guests in the best possible manner. This is whether they are doing traffic duty, parking duty, food serving duty, discipline duty, gate checking duty, hygiene and cleanliness duty, water supply duty, or any other duty for that matter. They must try their level best to provide ease and comfort for the guests and ensure that they do not face any sort of difficulty. I would like to also say a few things to the guests, and there are also some administrative matters that I would like to mention. The first and foremost thing that I would like to say to the guests is that you have come here for a good purpose, a noble purpose, and you have come here as guests of the promised Messiah, peace be upon him. Service. Your focus should be on raising the standard of your morals, which are the distinguishing characteristic of a true Muslim, and to attain which you have come here. In fact, this is the very purpose for which you should have come here. As I have said, even though under the Jamaat's system and administration, the Nizam, there is a system in place to serve the travelers and guests who have undertaken this noble, blessed and meaningful journey, and the administration strives to provide whatever necessities may be required. However, those who undertake a journey for the sake of God, they pay very little attention to these worldly needs and comforts. Their primary purpose is to be here and to obtain as much spiritual nourishment as possible. Therefore, do not venture to regard yourselves in the same category as worldly travelers or guests. If you are able to understand and comprehend this, then you will overlook the weakness and the shortcomings of your hosts. Otherwise, it has been observed that complaints often arise that the arrangements for people from a certain place were better, or certain people were given more amenities, or that such and such people were treated better as compared to others. Such complaints would not arise. Sometimes there are errors in estimations which results in some shortcomings, but these should be overlooked. If every single person's heart, every Ahmadi Muslim who comes here, were to be of the mindset that their only purpose is to obtain spiritual nourishment alone and nothing else, as opposed to obtaining some worldly comforts and luxuries, then both hosts and guests will treat one another with love and affection during these days. Nonetheless, I should also mention that the organizers do try their utmost to treat the guests equally. However, as I said, sometimes there could end up being some slight differences which the guests should then overlook. This is precisely our teaching. We were commanded to honor and respect guests and to take care of them, but at the same time, guests are also instructed to care for the ease of the hosts. The promised Messiah, alayhi salatu wasalam, on whom be peace, used to greatly honor and respect his guests. He would even say that they shouldn't be shy or hesitate to express their needs and requirements openly. However, these were under ordinary circumstances. He said that the guests of the Jalsa should all be treated the same and under the same organization, which is as uniform as possible. During the days of Jalsa, hospitality takes on a different form as compared to ordinary times. And the aim is for the thousands who have come here to be equally provided with as much facility and ease as possible. The exceptions are external guests, so guests who are foreigners or from abroad, for whom certain compelling factors require that there to be separate arrangements for them. In any case, despite this honor and despite this respect which the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, had for his guests, he would entrench in the minds of guests, even during ordinary times, that the primary purpose for their visit was to learn the faith and to purify their hearts and minds while treading the path of growing nearer to Allah the Almighty. It is for attaining this very purpose that people converge here as guests. And this is the very purpose for which guests should come to the Jalsa. During these days, attend the sessions of the Jalsa Salana and listen attentively to the programs and speeches, deriving full benefit from them. I would like now to present some more general guidance for the guests. It is imperative for a believer to utilize his time properly. In such gatherings where large numbers are present, you will naturally have the desire to sit amongst and spend time with your relatives and friends from far-off places. Here, we not only have an opportunity to meet our friends and loved ones from one country, rather Allah the Almighty has created the means to meet our close ones from many other countries. Allah the Almighty, out of His grace, has granted the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, with such a Jamaat, with such a community, that has broken down the borders and difference between countries and nations, and established a great sense of strong brotherhood. Among the many objectives of this Jalsa convention mentioned by the promised Messiah for his attendees, he has stated that through this, the community's mutual relations and brotherhood should be reinforced. That they should go from strength to strength and we should become one with each other. Naturally, it is also important to meet and greet one another, especially to become more acquainted and familiar with one another. However, you must also spend your time listening to the full-day proceedings at the Jalsa Salana, the convention. After this, if you get the opportunity, you may meet and interact with one another and socialize to improve mutual relations. For those who have not met one another for an extended period, it has been observed that the meetings and conversations take up so much time that often the whole night is wasted in leisurely conversations and discourse. As a result, people face great difficulty in waking for the Fajr, the morning prayer, let alone for Tahajjud, the pre-dawn voluntary prayer. It has also been observed that the administration then faces difficulties owing to people having these extended conversations whilst they eat in the food marquee. Such people spend so much time there eating the food that volunteers have to remind them about the time for prayers, or they have to be reminded that they have been talking for a very long time. Anyhow, similar difficulties may also arise for those who are staying in someone's home. Therefore, you must exercise moderation and balance. Guests should also be especially mindful that the host have to wind up, and they have to prepare for the program that is to come. Regarding the guests who visited the Holy Prophet ﷺ, may the peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, Allah the Almighty commanded that they should not waste their time in vain discourse. They were commanded that after they had eaten, they should depart. This should be considered especially in respect to the food marquee. Sometimes, as there are large crowds, food has to be distributed in shifts, and for this reason you should vacate and make space immediately after finishing your meal, so that others can come and eat with ease. And if such practices are adopted, then there will be no complaints, and work will carry on in a very blissful environment. Similarly, when a large number of people gather, sometimes unpleasant situations may arise. Occasionally, due to complaints about the administration, a guest may speak harshly to a volunteer. The volunteer may respond in kind, therefore escalating the matter and starting a chain of resentments and grudges. Even if these incidents are isolated, they create a tense environment and they affect and have a link with one another's. If those making complaints or speaking wrongly are residents of here, that is, living in the United Kingdom, the issue then prolongs, manifesting and raising its head at other times as well. The same phenomenon is observed in other countries too. Allah the Almighty says about a true believer that they are those who suppress anger. So to those who are treating others unjustly, who have been treated unfairly themselves, I say to both, keep in mind the sanctity of the Jalsa environment. Guests should exhibit forgiveness, forbearance, and the overlooking of others' faults. Even if they perceive an injustice in their assumption, they should still remain patient and tolerant. Show patience and restraint. Similarly, if volunteers feel they are being wronged by guests, they should also suppress their anger and maintain composure. Similarly, the checking of cards and security is crucial in today's prevailing circumstances. And therefore we must take a lot of precautions. Due to the various stages of this card checking and security process, some people may experience inconvenience and it may cause delays. Especially women who have children, they carry more belongings and possessions as a result. They often bring numerous bags which takes time to check. And when they bring so many bags, it takes time. So if some women have brought many belongings today, then that is all well and good. However, those who are coming from outside the Jalsa premises, who are not staying in the Jalsa Gah, because most of attendees come from outside the Jalsa Gah, they should try to bring fewer items over the next 2 days to minimize checking time. Mothers should only bring the necessary items for their children to avoid bringing unnecessary items which can cause delays. This wastes time needlessly for both the administration and the people. This is because people have to wait in a line or queue, leading to complaints against the administration, although sometimes the fault lies with the participants themselves due to their excessive belongings. They bring too many possessions and baggage and luggage, as I have stated. This causes delays during checks, as I have already stated. Furthermore, one instruction given by the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, to believers is to maintain ties even with those who sever those ties and who have disconnected with them and broken off connections and relations. In short, to give to those who withhold. Do not refuse help to someone who did not assist you in your time of need. And you do this simply out of revenge. The Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, instructed to forgive even those who speak ill of you. Here there is no question of insult. It is a duty assigned to a volunteer. Here, if a volunteer makes a mistake, or something occurs during checking, or if there are delays or objections about a card, patience should be shown instead of causing unpleasant situations. These teachings of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, guide towards forbearance. If we develop forbearance, all unpleasantness and conflicts will end. Thus, I say to both the guests and the volunteers that it is their obligation to show forbearance and tolerance. Those conducting checks should facilitate guests as much as possible. And if necessary, the administration should deploy more volunteers to achieve this, especially during rush hours. Following the desire of the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, we should aim to exemplify mutual love and brotherhood, as Allah the Almighty has mentioned this about Mu'mins or believers. Therefore, instead of getting upset over trivial and minor issues, we should instead strive to achieve our life's purpose. And this is attained through bowing, prostrating, ruku and sujood, worship, and zikr-i-ilahi, remembrance of Allah the Almighty. Every guest who comes here should aim to make their journey purely for the sake of Allah the Almighty. Both volunteers and the guests should remember that non-Muslims and non-members of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat may also be present. If everyone, both hosts and guests, exhibits high moral standards, it will serve as silent preaching or tabligh. It will positively impact others and will draw their attention towards Islam and its lofty teachings. Another important matter is that those who come here should establish the practice of saying salam, conveying greetings of peace to each other. Make maximum efforts in this regard. It is a blessed and pure prayer which has been taught to us. When the hosts and the guests say salam to each other, not only do they become free from every kind of fear and worry, in fact, they also give each other a prayer that benefits both of them. Therefore, in these days, give much emphasis to this pure and blessed prayer that Allah the Almighty has taught us. This is so that we may become those who spread peace, love, security and affection everywhere. And this environment becomes an atmosphere of pure love and brotherhood, all for the sake of Allah the Almighty alone. we should strive to purify ourselves from all kinds of selfish motives and try to bring about a revolution in our lives during these days.
और इन दिनों में एक इनकलाब अपनी ज़िंदगियों में पैदा करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं। हमारे लिए हर मामले में
The example in every matter for us is the example of the companions of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him. The high moral standards of the guests were such that during the time of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, the Sahaba, the companions, due to the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, spiritual effect and influence, would try to act upon every command of the Holy Quran. As the Holy Quran commands, if a guest goes to a house and the house owner says to return because he is busy, the guest should return happily and should show patience. One companion says that he tried to fulfill this command of Allah the Almighty and wished that when he went to someone's house, the house owner would tell him to go back because he was busy, and he would return happily to please Allah the Almighty and earn His pleasure. But despite his attempts and despite trying, he says that he never got the opportunity where someone would turn him away from their home. So these were those high moral standards possessed by the hosts and the guests. Thus, this is the kind of great patience that should be possessed. When a person possesses such great patience, he is able to overlook small matters. I spoke about conveying salam, the greetings of peace, to each other. Another matter to remember in this connection is that the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, said to convey salam to others and to establish the practice of conveying salam whether you know the other person or not. He said, go to such lengths to establish this practice of conveying salam that whether you know the other person or not, you should convey your salam. When this practice of conveying salam is established, it will impress a good effect on the hearts of the non-Ahmadi guests and non-Muslim guests, as well as the new Ahmadis. And they will benefit much more from this pure environment and appreciate the beautiful teachings of Islam. New Ahmadis will put this into practice and integrate more harmoniously into the system, because some complain that they are not integrated in certain places. I will present an incident of the promised Messiah, peace be upon him. Once during the occasion of the Jang-e-Muqaddas, the holy war proceedings, when there was a debate between the Muslims and the Christians, an incident occurred with the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, at the place where he was residing or staying. The organizers say that due to the abundance of guests, they forgot to place or present the food to the promised Messiah, peace be upon him. A part of the night had elapsed without the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, giving the food. After waiting a long time, when the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, inquired about any food, the organizers became very worried and anxious. Everyone's hands and feet went cold regarding what had transpired. There was no food left, and the markets and shops were closed because it was very late. So they couldn't bring anything from there. Nonetheless, when the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, became aware of the situation, when he found out, he said there was no need for such anxiety and discomfort. He said to look at the table where the food was eaten. Some people's leftovers would likely be there. He said this would suffice, and he asked for it to be brought over. When the table was checked, there were only a few pieces of pita bread left. There wasn't even any salan to eat with. The promised Messiah said, "This is enough for us," and he ate it. So this was the example of the promised Messiah, peace be upon him, who was the greatest lover of the Holy Prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, and who acted upon his sunnah or practice. Therefore, those who claim to be part of his community also need to always display this patience and gratitude. If there is any shortcoming in anyone's hospitality during these 3 days, overlook it and do not overly blame the organizers. The organizers do always strive to improve as much as possible. But there should be no disappointment or complaint on the part of the guests. If you wish to provide feedback for the sake of improvement with good intentions, then those who wish to send their feedback or suggestions can do so in order for progress to occur in the following years, and so that there are more arrangements for newcomers. Additionally, I also want to draw attention to the various exhibitions held during these days. This year marks the centenary of Hazrat Muslih Maud, second Khalifa of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Community's tour of Europe and the United Kingdom. The UK Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, along with the Markaz Archive Department, has organized an exhibition comprised of various pictures. You should definitely visit it. It presents 100 years of history of the United Kingdom and is also about Hazrat Muslih Maud. Similarly, there are exhibitions by the Review of Religions, the Archive and the Tabligh departments, and the Maqsad-e-Tasveer exhibition. These are all worth seeing, and I hope they are well organized. Try to visit these exhibitions in your free time instead of wasting it here and there. Moreover, instructions have been given to the administration that COVID patients are rising in some places worldwide. And there is an increase in some areas here as well. People have come from various places, and it is possible that someone is infected with COVID. Therefore, at the entrances and at the gates, homeopathic preventative medicine has been arranged. You should try that every person takes these medicines when they enter easily, when the administration provides it. Actually, they should themselves ask, "May Allah the Almighty protect everyone from all kinds of diseases and evil." Similarly, there are also security arrangements. As I have mentioned before, regarding security, I say every year that the best security is to keep an eye on your surroundings and make sure everyone is watching over what is around them. That is a greater security measure. If everyone does this, no opponent or enemy will get a chance to cause any harm. In the same way, if you see any unnecessary items or bags lying around, inform the administration. And if you notice anyone's suspicious behavior, report it as well to the organizers. Nonetheless, pay special heed to security during these days. But our greatest weapon is the protection of Allah the Almighty, and we should strive in prayers and the remembrance of Allah the Almighty to seek His protection. Pay special attention to this during these 3 days. May Allah the Almighty grant you the ability to act upon this and make this Jalsa blessed in every way for everyone.
الحمد لله الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله ونشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله عباد الله رحمكم الله إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم